Okay, so task number one is to basically to build the client application, the front end. So in our repo, there is a folder called front end, and there's a file called Dockerfile. So whenever you want to build a Docker image, so this is usually what we use. So this is the Dockerfile, which contains instructions to tell Docker how to build this image, right? And then here on the bottom, we have a few requirements. So first is there is an instruction called from, which means that what's going to be your base image, right? Because whenever you build an image, you need to start from somewhere. So here we have Node Carbon. And the reason why I'm using Node Carbon is because this image already contains Node.js for me, so I don't have to worry about installing it. I could use, an Alpine or something like that and install Node myself, but because this one is already done, I'm just gonna leverage it. And then we have the instruction run, which we can run commands, right? But before we get to that, let's just read this just so it's clear what we need to do. So we need to start the image from Node Carbon. We need to copy everything that is in the repo that we cloned into that image. Then we're gonna make sure that we start working from the folder called /code. So that's gonna be the working directory. Then we need to run npm install to make sure that all the dependencies are there. And then finally, the CMD is to actually run the application when we run the container. So first thing I'm going to do is to copy everything. I'm going to copy from dot to /code. And here, note that /code in theory doesn't exist, but once we build this image, it's going to be created for us by the copy instruction. So I'm going to copy everything that is, in this local directory inside /code. And then every time I run the container, I want the starting point to be /code. So that's why we have something which is called work directory. So work there. That's going to be /code. And then after I set up everything, so I've got the code there, I need to run npm install. So I'm just going to do run npm install to install all dependencies. And one thing to note is that I remember someone was putting npm install before everything here, and that's not going to work because unless you have the code inside the image first, that's when you can install it, right? So you cannot install before you copy the code. So that's why npm install needs to come after the copy command. And then finally, we have our executable. So our executable is going to be npm run dev. And note that I cannot do everything in a double quote, so npm run dev, because this is translated into a single command, right? So then the system's going to think that there is a command called npm space run space dev, which is not true. So the command is npm. So we finished there the quote. Then we put a comma around run. So that's the first argument. And then the second argument is dev. So you first have the command, and then for each one of the arguments, you just separate them in quotas, so in quotes and commas. All right, so this is Dockerfile for the front end. I believe I didn't miss anything. Just gonna go back here to double check. And I think we have everything. Okay, so now it's time to build the container. So make sure this is saved. So if I do ls and let me go to front end first. Cat Dockerfile. So we can see that everything is there. It's already saved, which is good. And so for us to build a Docker image, there is a command called docker build. And we need to specify an option called -t, which is for the tag, and this is basically the name of the image. So based on here, it should be ddfe. So let's call it that. And then at the end, I need to specify dot, because I need to tell Docker where to find my Docker file. If your Docker file is somewhere else, you could have an option to specify the path to this Docker file, but because it's in the same directory, I'm just going to specify dot. Okay, so it's done. So I can do Docker run rm. This rm just remove the container once everything's done. Once the container is killed, just removes it. -- or dd-fe. what happens. So this is the message that we got here at the bottom, compiled successfully. Going back to the challenge, we have this redacted, and this is basically the message that we're looking for. Now, what we need to do to capture the flag is to grab that message without the period at the end, and generate a SHA-256 hash of that message. And then the first 6 characters, that's going to be our flag. Right, so basically I'm just gonna copy everything here. And you have a couple of options. You can either use a command on here on the terminal, or you could use a hash calculator website like this. So if you just paste everything, this is the resulting hash. And then the first 6 characters, which are these ones until F, this is gonna be the flag. So what we can do is come back here and then do def slope CTF, curly brackets, and submit. And there you go. So that's the flag for task number 1.